Welcome to the Illumination series. This is Shoud 10, and we are ready. We're here again after the break. Jeffrey is getting ready for Adamus, and so are we. So with that, most important, it's time to take that conscious breath. So let's start with some conscious breathing, breathing into you. Such an important step. Just take the good deep breath of life. Let yourself get comfortable wherever you are, laying down, sitting, get comfortable. Take the good deep breath and just breathe away the distractions. Breathe and feel into you. Take the good deep breath and breathe truly with presence. Breathe, inviting Adamus in. He's here. Oh, he is so here. Breathe, opening to the highest potential, such an important thing. A commitment of allowing we do with each breath if we choose. Keep breathing and flowing, allowing the energies, allowing the air. It's a breath of life. Breathe and feel. Keep breathing as we begin. Breathe for you.
You're the skin that I lead with, the heart that I love with, the feet that I walk on. You're the words that I'm singing, the voice that keeps bringing togetherness so strong. You're the high note in my laughter and the warmth that comes right after, the peace in my breathing. My green thumb and my sweet tooth, you're my drive and my rear view, the voice of reason. And I am here cause you were here, and that is clear to me. And every time I think of you, it's the sweetest memories. I am here cause you were here, always guiding me, the light that shines in me. Oh, meet you at the light. I meet you with the light shining bright, shining bright. Meet you with the light shining bright, shining bright. Oh, meet you at the light. I see you in the light shining bright, shining bright. See you in the light shining bright, shining bright. You're that push to keep going, that sweet subtle knowing where there's a will, there's a way. The hope in the heartache, the lessons and mistakes, plant seeds for another day. You're all of those things and more. You help me have the strength to explore. My first reason to travel, choose love in a battle, to know there's so much more wisdom. And I am here cause you were here, and that is clear to me. And every time I think of you, it's the sweetest memories. I am here cause you were here, always guiding me, the light that shines in me. I'll meet you at the light. I'll meet you with the light shining bright, shining bright. Meet you with the light shining bright, shining bright. I'll meet you at the light. I see you in the light shining bright, shining bright. See you with the light shining bright, shining bright. I'll meet you at the light. bright. You're shining bright. I'll meet you at the light.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am that I am, Adamus of sovereign domain. Oh dear Shambra, here we are. Here we are, right in the midst of the time of the machines. Crazy times, fun times. It's times that you're gathering a whole lot of stories that you're going to be able to tell later on at the Ascended Masters Club. I'm feeling into all the energies of Shambra who are here, who are tuning in, who are going to watch this later. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. It has me choked up today. Before we even get started, how far are we going to be able to go with this? Before we do go any further, I want to dedicate this shout to all the realm workers. All the realm workers. It was amazing work, difficult work. Those of you who identify, and not everybody was, a lot of you were really focused here. Somebody had to watch the shop while the others were off doing their work. But for the realm workers who dedicated themselves to creating this thing called Heaven's Cross, the apocalypse, the opening, oftentimes at the sacrifice of their human self. A human self kind of left alone, not a lot of resources, not a lot of companionship, not a lot of love. A human self often really deprived of abundance and joy and sex and things like that. Because such a big part of you was off in the other realms doing the work, and it's done now. It's completed a little year and a half ago. Now it's done, and so many of you came back here kind of to looking forward to Hero's Welcome. Moaning and groaning from the audience. You didn't exactly get a whole lot of acknowledgement other than from me and from about 13,000 Ascended Masters. But you didn't get a lot of acknowledgement from the people around you, from people close to you, your co-workers, your friends. They had no idea what you were doing off in these other realms. And to the ones, too, the realm workers, of course, to the ones who focused here to keep everything going within the Crimson Circle, within other parts of life. But I really want to dedicate this one to the realm workers. I know you've had a difficult time adjusting. And I know so many of you wonder why you even came back. You could have just walked through that portal that you helped to create, gone to the other side. Jeez, just think about it. You'd had Sart and Edith and John Kaderka and others to entertain you and to applaud you, but you came back here. Often wondering about it, but often wondering why you came back. But I think you know, your intuition knows, you came back right now to be here, to shine that light at this time of machines. Even though it's a crazy, crazy world, even though you didn't get that big hero's welcome, you came back here to, in a way, continue your service and continue your experiences. So let's take a deep breath in acknowledgement of all the realm workers who did so much at the sacrifice of their human self. It wasn't just about dancing around up there, opening this portal and assembling some light designs here and there, and then decorating the portal with flowers and, paintings and other things. There were forces working against you. There were real forces, and forces like gravity, of course, things like that, but there were other being forces didn't want this to happen or were afraid of it happening. They had agendas. They were, in a way, very organized. And they didn't want to see this happen on this planet Earth. Or they wanted it to come at a later date. Let's wait a while, let's think this over. They did what they could to push against you. Now, don't think in terms of human terms, like with weapons and bombs and blowing each other up. But, well, you know what it's like. For those of you who did the realm work, there was a force pushing against you. And you couldn't push back. You couldn't push back because the moment you did pushing back on those forces, now you had big conflict. The minute you put force back on them, you gave them credence and power. They ate it up. These forces that I talk about, and we'll talk more about it today, their energy, their sustenance, their food is things like human emotions and fear and battle and power. So the moment you push against that, you're just solidifying them. You're just giving them more power, more voice, more authority. So how do you do this? How did you as realm workers do this with all of this coming at you and you can't push back? That's a tough one. Oh, and you could feel it. Even though as a realm worker you were non-physical, you're still also connected to your human self, and the human could feel that. And its body and its mind oftentimes being flooded with confusion and doubt. The human actually took a big brunt of all this, even while you, the realm worker, was out there doing your stuff. The human took on a lot of the confusion and a lot of the doubt and a lot of what I'm going to call the darkness of it, or the force against. You see, because as a realm worker, not in the physical body while you're doing that, you don't feel it the same way. You feel it in other ways, but the human took on a lot of it. And the fact is that here we are today, into the apocalypse, deep into the apocalypse. And while the outside world may seem to be a crazy place, and it will be for a little while, in the heavens, in the realms, where you worked, things have changed. Things have changed to the point where there's no going backwards at this point. There's no more battles in those realms. There's actually some interesting things happen. Again, we'll talk about them today, but in many ways, those realms are falling apart, breaking down. And while it may seem at times that it's very chaotic there, is your feeling in your dreams. And very chaotic, confused, unorganized, no sense of direction, leadership, everything falling apart. There's a reason for that. The very reason that you did the realm work in the first place. So let's take a beautiful moment together with Shambha around the world and acknowledge the realm workers for all that they did and the deep sacrifices that their human selves went through. The unsung heroes, the ones who stayed committed. You know, it's interesting, I almost write a book about the realm workers, that we lost very, very few of them to the human that would have died on this planet. Lost very few who threw up their hands and said, I'm done with this work. This is too much. You know, it's one thing to be making this light portal, so we bring in more divine energies, but what else you put up with, this force working against you? And what could you do? What could you do as a realm worker? You can't battle it. You can't fight it. There was a lot of training that went into this before you came into this lifetime. A lot of training. When you get to that point in doing the realm work, you cannot draw your sword. Matter of fact, you are required to put your sword down forever. You can't cuss and swear. You can't You can't fight them, because the moment you do, you're creating a greater reality for them. What could you do? I exist. I am that I am. That's it. I exist. And not just to say the words, but to feel it in every part of your being. I exist. I am that I am. Not as a mental thought, but as a feeling. You had to be able to elicit that feeling within you, that knowingness. You know, it's one thing just to say it in your head, and often when that happens, like an affirmation, you don't really believe it, but you had to go deep within. I exist. That's the most beautiful, beautiful statement there could ever be. I exist. I always have, and I always will. I have no beginning and I have no end. I was created by no one or no thing. I exist. I exist because I can hear my voice. I can breathe my breath. I can sing my songs. I can call myself by any name I choose. I exist. I can feel myself as a human in the body. I can feel the pain, the joy. I can laugh. I can cry. Outside of the human body, I exist. I can feel my light, my consciousness. I own my energy. I exist. And that's what you did as the realm workers. That was your tool. I exist. There are times when, over the lifetimes, even in the realm work, where maybe you felt you were going out of existence. That's a scary, scary feeling. Going out of existence. There were times when some of you were pushed so far to the edge, you didn't know if you were going to continue to exist. But you always will. You can't not exist. You can play a game of getting lost. You can play a game of even going into nothingness. But even in that nothingness, you can feel yourself. You can hear yourself. Even in that absolute sheer nothingness, you sense something and it's you. That's when you realize, yes, I do exist. And I always will. It's the greatest tool that any one of you has on this planet at this amazing, crazy time. You're not going to fight it. You're not going to even fight yourself. You're not going to fight evil forces. And this whole concept of what we call the light warriors, nonsense. There's nothing to battle. Nothing to battle. And if you do, you are only creating a reality that is not true to you. What you have during the most difficult times, during times where you think there might be impending death from disease or an accident or old age or something else, what you have is I exist. I am that I am. That means I am all that I am. I am all that I choose to be, all that I imagine to be, all that I ever have been, and all that I ever will be. I am that I am. That's sovereignty. Not dependent on anybody else or any other thing. I am that I am. Feel that for a moment. I exist. I can sense, I can feel. I don't need the physical body to do that, but it's a pretty cool experience. I exist. Through all time and without time. Through all space and without space, I exist. I am that I am. I'm all the experiences, all the stories, all the imaginations, all the things that were potentials that I chose, and even the potentials I didn't choose to manifest. I am that I am. That's it. when you are in great doubt and pain, when you're down on the floor thinking that there's nothing left, when it's the middle of the night and you just want to run from yourself and everything, you don't want to have another thought ever in your brain, you don't want to have another experience, much less another day, stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to make sense of it. You really can't. What you do is you take a deep breath and feel into it. I exist. I might be down on the floor in a pool of my own puddle, or a puddle of my own tears, might be having totally given up, not knowing where to go or what to do next. You just take a deep breath and say, well, I exist. Like it or not, I exist. And watch what happens. You've gotten down to the core of yourself. You've gotten into the deepest levels of your soul, your I amness, acknowledging your own existence. And when you feel that, I exist, I am that I am, it's also taking responsibility for all of your creations and realizing nobody else is doing it to you. Nobody else is inflicting it on you. You're not a victim of anything. You are God also. I exist. I am that I am. Let's all feel into that for a moment. The times ahead, they're going to be, it depends how you look at it, they're going to be humorous or hard, or hardly humorous at times, but they're going to be challenging because everything is shifting and changing. And that's good. That's why you're here. That's what you imagine. That's the way the planet is going. There's no turning back now. I exist. I am that I am. Let go of all the rest of the stuff in your brain, let go of anything you've learned, whether it's here at the Crimson Circle or anywhere else. I exist. I am that I am. That's it. You're emptying yourself out. You're getting rid of all the garbage, all the noise, everything else. I exist. That's when suddenly, in that darkness, in that space of not knowing how you're going to continue, then suddenly you're going to feel something. And what you feel is the real you. Not the story you, not the spiritual you. You're going to feel the real you. I exist. I am that I am. That's what the realm workers did. They're so adept at that now, but some of them kind of forgot when they came back. Come back to that. You can handle anything in your life. Anything. Remember, it's not to inflict on anybody else. It's not a power tool. It's an acknowledgement. I exist. What a miracle. What a miracle. I am that I am. Let's take a good deep, deep, deep breath with that. And again, acknowledgement to all of the realm workers. Job well done. Very well done. Thank you. That was kind of a golf clap, okay? Let's really send our appreciation to all the realm workers, whether you're here, whether you're watching, and let's have a big appreciation for the realm workers. Woo! 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 Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. You deserve it. You deserve it. Not tough, not easy coming back here after doing all that. And on top of that, because of the magnitude of what you were doing, because what you were really conscious and aware of out there, you come back here and everything seems so small and insignificant and trivial and annoying people and short-sighted people and everything. And the only real relief is to go into nature I mean, they don't have games in nature. Nature is nature. It doesn't have a lot of games. But you come back here and what the fuck kind of games are? What's wrong with humanity?
Oh, so you get to swear.
I didn't swear. I went fuck like that. I skipped the you.
Oh,
Get it? And you're like, it's almost intolerable. What are they? What games are they playing? And then you turn on the news. Oh, it hurts. But well, you're here. You're here. You chose to be. So with this shout, now that we've done our acknowledgement, I'm going to start at the end, and then we'll go back through and figure out how we got there. I want you to really feel into this for yourself. A couple of little few words. Therefore it is. Therefore it is. It's going to be kind of the new operating method for you. Therefore it is. I imagine, therefore it is. I move into new levels of consciousness, and therefore it is. I allow my divinity, and therefore it is. I allow my knowingness, and therefore it is. I am here for my soul destiny, and therefore it is. So often you'll get this idea, an inspiration, a feeling of something, and then the doubt sets in. So often you really know, you tap into exactly why you're here, and it's not just words, it's a deep feeling. It's a amazing sense of knowingness. And then the doubt comes in. And maybe I shouldn't be thinking this way. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking that I saved the entire cosmos by the realm work I did. And no. Those are old human doubts. And you blocked yourself, cut yourself short, and then you caused a lot of mental crap. It's as simple now as, and therefore it is. I choose to be here in consciousness, opening to my divinity at this amazing time, and therefore it is. So often you would have a feeling, a knowingness, or a desire to go beyond the gravity and go beyond mass consciousness, but then you hit the wall all the time. You got pulled back. It's almost like you tested yourself at times, if you just hit the wall, and instead of making the wall disappear, you fell back. And now it's as simple as, therefore it is. So I am here at this incredible time doing exactly what I committed to do thousands of years ago, or as far back as Atlantis, and therefore it is. It's kind of like a way of walking out of your own limitations, your own crystal prison. I choose to be here in joy and abundance and balance, and therefore it is. That's it. That's what the master does, and therefore it is. No buts, no looking backwards, no self-doubt, no self-torture, and therefore it is. I imagine, I dream, and therefore it is. I choose, and therefore it is. It's really about that simple. And this isn't about anybody else. It isn't about choosing for the planet or your family. It is about choosing for you, and therefore it is. I choose love, and therefore it is. I'm not wondering where it's going to come from, who it's going to be, is it going to end in divorce, or anything like that. The master takes a deep breath and allows that to be. Therefore, it is. And then it's there. It's kind of like a magic in a way, but it's not magic at all. It's the natural ways that consciousness and energy works. Feel that for a moment in your life. Every one of you has had something come up recently. You hit the wall, or you go into confusion, or you're trying so damn hard to do the right thing and it just doesn't seem to be working. Take a deep breath for a moment and feel that. And therefore it is. Walk on by. Don't pause, don't doubt, and therefore it is. That is the way, and that is the way of the Master. And therefore it is. That is the way. That is now bringing yourself into responsibility, into your own light on this planet. There's been enough of suffering, there's been enough doubt, there's been enough self-bashing and self-denial. Just don't tolerate it anymore. I mean, from yourself. Don't tolerate it. And therefore it is. I choose abundance. And therefore it is. Watch what happens. That simple statement, and therefore it is. And then you just go about your life, do what you want, and therefore it is. Knowing that it's going to manifest. Maybe you don't know every little detail of how it's going to come into place, but it does, and therefore it is. I choose my balance. Balance is really important right now. Balance is not, by the way, holding back or restricting or limiting. But balance is really important right now because, again, there are forces. There are things happening that can throw you off. I choose my balance. It's already there, and therefore it is. Boom, suddenly it's manifested. Feel into that a moment, and therefore it is. Some of you are going, and therefore it is, or maybe not. I caught that. No, that's old programming. That's a lot of old programming, and therefore it is, but is this going to work? And therefore it is for others, not me. And therefore it is, but not for a long time. No, I want it pure and simple. You are a master. Feel it without question. And therefore it is. I choose the rest of my life to be in joy. And therefore it is. Now the fine print. always got to do the fine print. Always got to do the fine print. Fine print is that then things will happen. And people in your life that don't belong in your life will no longer be in your life. And you'll realize how you've been actually kind of taking advantage of them. Situations that have been in your life will change. Again, classic one, you're ready for real abundance. You're ready for real passion in your life, and you choose it. And you go into the office the next day and you're fired. It's like, what the hell? What did I do wrong? You know, I was supposed to get a raise. No, you weren't. You were supposed to get the hell out of there. And then you say, then I choose now being jobless. I choose abundance, and therefore it is. And watch how it manifests. Not from the frickin' universe. Universe doesn't give a rip about you. From yourself. From your own I amness. From your creator being. Feel into that for a moment. And therefore, it is. It's liberating. It's damn liberating. And if that voice of doubt comes up, or, I don't know, an alien or something comes by and says you're full of crap, remind them that they're green and you're not, for a reason. I'll explain later. They're green with envy. That's the whole green thing. That's what it's about. If that voice of doubt or anything comes up, just walk by. Fuck you. You know? I wasn't talking to you. I was talking. Well, no, you have to talk to the voice of doubt like that. Like, not like, oh, voice of doubt, please. Shut up. And therefore it is. I am abundant, and therefore it is. All the head noise that's been going on and all that, whether you want it to change or not, it is going to change. So you might as well go along for the ride. Whether, some of you are very comfortable having that crap in your life. I don't know why, but you kind of like it. I don't know why. It's like an old companion that is always beating on you, but you keep it around. It's going to go, whether you like it or not, because you, at some level, at a soul destiny level, you've chosen it. But back to the point, and therefore it is. That means, and so it is. And Tobias used to use the words alloton, meaning I create this. Let's keep it simple, and therefore it is. I choose. What do you choose? I choose, and therefore it is. Remember, only for yourself. Let's take a good deep breath with that. Speaking of choosing, you've chosen to be here right now. It wasn't inflicted on you. I know it feels like that, but you've chosen to be here. And I know there's times where you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Where am I going with this? But again, feel into it. This is the grandest time. This is a time that will be remembered above all. This isn't just another time, not just another year. This is the time. I shouldn't even have to say that. It should be so damn obvious, but I know sometimes you get caught in mass consciousness, you get caught in your own stuff, but this is the time. Everything is moving right now. Everything is changing. The implications of what the realm workers did is causing massive changes in the other realms. This is the time right now, bar none, no exaggeration, not trying to jazz things up here. I'm calling it like it is. This is the time of the new human species that's taking place. If you don't kind of realize that, a little bit even, you got your head really buried in the sand, or you're in denial. This is the time of the new human species. It's being fueled by technology. It's not technology that's creating it, but technology is supporting it, moving it along. It's being fueled also by more light and more consciousness coming to this planet. It was inevitable that this would happen because of the dreams that many humans had. A time of the evolution of this planet. It was not just the humans that imagined or envisioned this. It was beings all throughout creation that imagined it. Well, there's a tendency to think that this is just some small backwater planet, and sometimes they act that way, but it's actually not. It is the place. And what's happening right now is the human species is evolving, and it's not just a biological thing, that's part of it. Part of it is evolution beyond the logic, the mental of the human. And the biggest part of it is the evolution of the consciousness of the heart of the human is evolving. Any evolution of this magnitude creates a lot of changes, creates a lot of disruptions, creates a lot of turmoil, noise, friction, and everything else, and that's what's going on. But every bit of that turmoil and friction that's occurring, whether it's in yourself or in the planet in general, is now being rechanneled back into the evolution of the human species. All the what you would call negativity, all the pushback from other forces that is occurring, all the whining and complaining, and humans are really good at that, all the whining and complaining, all the sadness, depression, anger, remorse is all being channeled back into the evolution of the human species. It's not wasted. It's not, there's better ways to do it, but none of that is going to waste. This was solidified, guaranteed at Quantum Leap in 2007. And then it was refined by energy designs, by the work that the realm workers did. So that no matter what happens, no matter how much resistance, and there will be a lot, no matter how much noise, all the political stuff that's happening and everything else, no matter what, it is all being rechanneled back into the evolution of this human species. Nobody can say exactly what the outcome will be, exactly what it will look like. Nobody can determine exactly a date on it, although it's going to be sooner than later. We're not talking hundreds of years. We're not even talking 10 decades or anything like that. We're talking in the very near future, the evolution of this human species. It's happening on many different levels, but it requires more light, more imagination coming to this planet. And it's through the imagination, through the light, that the new human species evolves to its greatest potential. Not just a healthier physical body, but perhaps no physical body. Perhaps we're beyond the need to be embodied in matter on a relatively permanent basis. Perhaps the new human species will have the ability to go in and out of embodiment at any time. It's not going to be just a robotic body, although that will come about to a large degree, but it will fade away also. Because why would you go from being embodied in biology to being embodied in metal or wires or things like that? The evolution will take on different iterations. There might be a type of nanotechnology type of species for a very short period of time, or maybe just in the laboratory. But eventually the human species will evolve. And while I know it's a little challenging to accept, but what you're doing right now, what all of you are doing on this planet, is imagining into that new human species. I know you're caught up in oftentimes the turmoil of life or your own self or your own issues, but you're the ones that are imagining into it. Well, what will that be like? Well, this new human species, what would you consider to be the best of the human situation, and then things you'd really rather leave out? How can you imagine being in this reality, whether it's embodied deeply like you are now, whether it's occasional embodiment, or whether it's the and? You're both. At any given time, you are both. You are embodied in biology, and you're not. You're free. What does that look like? In the new human species, what is the purpose of the mind? Where does the mind fit into all this? Mind has been one of the greatest challenges, one of the things that humans hold on high, but in spite of that, it's one of the biggest problem areas. And the mind, for so many, is going into depression right now. But even that depression of humans around the world, even if they're on these medications, that is being rechanneled back into the evolution of the human species. It's time. It's past time. In the work that was done by so many of you in the time of Yeshua, implanting the Christ consciousness seeds, the crystalline energies that would then come to be harvested now, at that time, it wasn't known exactly what this new human species was going to do, but you knew there was going to be one. There was going to be one. That's why things like the Mayan calendar ended at a certain point. That's why technology took off when it did. That's why so many things have taken place, and you are at the epicenter or the forefront of the new human species. You don't have to be a bioengineer. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be some academic type to be the ones envisioning that. Nobody else is doing it. I mean, no other humans, regular humans, are doing it. But the work you're doing, some other groups on the planet, and the work that the realm workers did, and then all of the ascended masters. Sometimes you wonder what we do at the Ascended Masters Club. We just, kind of watch you on our holograms and laugh a lot. We do. We do. But we're there also. You have to do the work, but we're there at least in support, at least to remind you when you forget what you're doing. So it's not just a few humans on the planet. There's a whole assembly of ascended masters that are also part of this. Many of them teaching other groups or guiding groups, channeling. This right now is the time of the new human species. That's one of the reasons why you chose to stay, and one of the reasons why you're going through a lot of body issues as well. You're integrating your own light body, which will replace the Adam Cadman template on this planet with exactly what to be determined. Who determines it? Initially you. And then it's up to mass consciousness, it's up to humanity to do it. If you could just feel into that for a moment, the tremendous changes that are occurring everywhere. If you really could see and feel and sense all of it, you'd wonder how it's all staying together right now. You'd really wonder because of the monumental changes. And I'll put it right back on you. It's staying together because you're staying together. I know you have your days, and I know you have your doubts, and I know you think that some days you can't get anywhere, but I want you to feel for a moment what you're carrying on your shoulders. The evolution of the new human species. The evolution or the reordering of all of your past lives right now. And the direction of the entire cosmos. The entire cosmos. And you wonder sometimes, what am I doing here? Why am I going through this? Where's my real passion? That's when you take a deep breath. I exist. I'm exactly where I've chosen to be. And yes, sometimes I forget. Sometimes being in this tight little environment of this planet is very, very difficult. Sometimes you let small little personal things get in your way. But even those, oddly enough, serve a purpose. Little things you go through every day, the annoyances, the irritations, the frustrations, the sometimes feeling depressed or lost or anything. Every one of those feelings, every one of those experiences is being rechanneled back into your personal evolution, being rechanneled back into the ability to go beyond the human mind and the physical body into your light body. I know some of you have really bad days and you just want to scream or run or whatever. And you wonder when you're ever going to get out of it, when things will lighten up. But at least know that for everything you're going through, all of that is being rechanneled back into energies for your own evolution, for your own realization, and for your own coming of the light body and your divine mind. There's easier ways to do it, of course, but none of it is going to waste right now. This planet is going to evolve. There is no turning back. There's no two questions about it. And I tell you that as a representative of the Ascended Masters. There's no going back. It will evolve. And it will evolve soon because everything is underway, moving, shifting, changing. It was determined or granted, blessed at this time of the quantum leap. That meant there was no going back. Consciousness was too high. It was all going forward, full speed ahead, and it has. Heaven's Cross was yet the next major step in that. It was making sure that forces that have been working against this planet could no longer interfere, and that now it was safe to open the passageway between the realms without fear that other forces were going to interfere, intercept, or damage or destroy the free flow of light back and forth to the planet. That was one of the main reasons for Heaven's Cross. It's clear passage now. The other forces cannot interfere. I make a statement, and I've made it to Shambhala, recently made it to those outside of Shambhala land. In all of creation, there is no greater being than the human being. Some have laughed at that. Some have ridiculed it. Some have taken great exception with it. Some have smirked thinking it's just a nice line. But it is, in fact, reality. There are no greater beings in all of creation. Humans would like to think that there are. They'd like to think that there's godlike beings somewhere else out there. Or they like to think that it's Jesus going to come back and save them. There's this greater being out there. Or aliens, ETs, advanced civilizations. There are not. Period. Once you realize that, once you remember who you are, and once this game stops of somebody's going to come along and save us, then this planet can move forward. But there are no greater beings in all of creation than human beings. Makes you stop for a moment. Yeah, but what about? What about? What about hunger on this planet? What about violence? What about young children being sent off as slaves, work slaves, sex slaves? What do you mean, Adamus? There's no greater being than the human beings. Humans are screwed up. We need help. We need some sort of salvation. We need some sort of being coming down from the sky, whether it's from the other realms or other planets or whatever. Good Lord, Adamus, what are you talking about? No, I can tell you there are no greater beings than the human being. Those of you who came down here from the other realms, from your angelic families, leaders of your angelic families, as a matter of fact, taking on Earth, taking on this. No being has ever put themselves through such agony and turmoil, forgetfulness, challenge than the human. No being. To come to Earth, to put up with a physical body and other people and all of the things that come with just surviving on this planet, much less evolving on this planet. Nobody's ever done it like this. You came here from the celestial realms, from your angelic families, leaders in those families, and I'm not saying that to flatter you. Feel into this for a moment. If the order of the ark, the archangels, the assembly of all the angelic families got together because there was a problem in the other realms. There was an issue. Everything was coming to a standstill. In other words, you could say that energy wasn't being triggered anymore and light wasn't being generated. And that was kind of scary. So this place of Earth was created to be a place to find answers to those issues. And it was known, we didn't know all the details, we didn't know every little thing about Earth, but we know it was going to be kind of hell. We knew it was going to be very difficult. We couldn't go to the 144,000 angelic families and ask for second rank angelic beings or ask for, find somebody amongst you that'll go to Earth. It required the grandest of the angels to come here. It required those who had been working with their own energy and their own light, who'd been working in their own consciousness. That's why you were leaders of your angelic families. So I'm not trying to flatter you when I say that you were, but this place of Earth would chew up and spit out a lesser angel. It required the best. You came here. You came here under the most adverse conditions of any. You created them. You were part of the designing of this reality, of this dimension, of the Adam Cadman template. You were part of creating it and said, I can work through it. I will work through it. I will find that way. I will find my consciousness. Even in this density, I will find and rediscover my energy and how to use it with consciousness and wisdom and maturity. And that's what happened. That's why the angelic families were finally disbanded, why the Order of the Ark was disbanded. Because it is coming into being, and therefore it is. That's why we're here. There is no greater being than the human being anywhere. I will take on anybody, anytime, any place, and debate that with them. I will beat them hands down. It's not just a belief of mine. It's what I've seen. It's what I know. It's what I see in each and every one of you. Does anybody want to challenge that right now? We could have a little discussion right here. Linda's got the microphone. Anybody want to play the devil's advocate for a moment? Just to play it out, just to pretend. Because I've said this on some of my recent interviews that Calder and I have done together. And it raises some hair, it raises some anger. Oh, talk about people getting upset. What do you mean? Humans are the grandest. You've been drinking. Saint-Germain. Drinking Saint-Germain. And what are you talking about? It's like, no, I know they're the greatest. But just for the sake of devil's advocate, anybody want to play the other side? Why humans aren't the greatest? Half this Shoud was supposed to be about the debate, and it's not going to happen. Either they're afraid or they believe it. It's somebody, anybody. We turn up
You're
the house
allowing
lights. Anybody volunteer, just play the role of the devil's advocate. Somebody's got to have the cojones to do it.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
all right.
Let's have the house lights up for this. So here I am, Saint-Germain, making this statement. It's etched on the wall back here if you didn't happen to notice. Kind of a big point today. No greater beings than the human being. And then you come along, sir, and disagree.
I would disagree with you.
Yeah, good.
Oh, you want evidence?
We're just playing a game here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're playing the devil's advocate.
Yep.
You're speaking on behalf of a lot of humans, a lot of New Agers, a lot of religious types that say, oh no, we're all sinners down here. We're all weak, lowly sinners. And your point being?
No pressure.
No pressure. Right.
Angelic realm and being the divine, why would I need to go into a body and put myself into such a dense format in order to know what I already know?
Right. Well, you didn't know. Well, you didn't. That's why everything slowed down. I mean, it was coming to an absolute impasse of energy, and with the fear that everything was going to collapse. So that's your divinity.
So this was the answer that the greatest angelic beings came up with, was this realm
One
in
of
order
30.
to figure that out?
That's a good point. All right, that's a good point. Got me on that one. There were 33 different plans for what could happen. How do we find out what this impasse is? How do we resolve it? So there was a variety of different plans, and it wasn't known every little detail. It was known that you would go into ultra compression, you would go into ultra density, and perhaps forget who you were in that, have kind of like a angelic amnesia, and then you're in this very foreign environment, unnatural in every way. Now, can you make your way out? How do you make your way out?
So I put myself in a glass jar.
You put yourself in a ceramic jar and buried it deep underground. Yes. Yeah. With no light, no air, no nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was the mark of intelligence.
Define intelligence in this case.
Well, I mean, as far as the solution is that what the concept of being a divine being and having this divinity
Yes.
is that somehow putting myself in that kind of reinforces this idea of suffering is a solution. But yet what we're learning now is that suffering is an option. So what was the other option that didn't include the suffering part to be here?
Well, suffering wasn't inherent or woven into this experience. It was not knowing what was going to happen, but knowing that if we created the elements of time and space, and you then dove into that, where everything was slowed down, so you had opportunity to contemplate your actions and reactions, to feel into your own intelligence and wisdom. You see, without those elements of particularly time, space, and gravity, everything just goes like that. It happens so, it's not even fast. It happens in such a kind of a chaotic way. There's no time for reflection, contemplation, or what the hell's happening. So in a sense, you chose to go into slow-mo. Very, very, very slow motion, so that now you could consider every action and reaction. You could consider how, if you thought something, what would happen? If you did something, what would happen? And then you put yourself in amongst many, many other humans to make it even more interesting, or many other angelic beings who had also forgotten. So it was, it wasn't all designed out. It was like, let's create a reality, a dimension, where there's time for consideration. And then we can learn about how energy and consciousness work together.
So the very nature, the state of nature in which I came from was still yet unknown at that point.
Yes.
From that perspective. And so it was more of
Well, you could be a
microscope.
divine being in the other realms, but that doesn't mean you had wisdom.
Okay.
You didn't have the experience. You could be a divine being in the other realms, which every one of you was. You didn't know squat about love. There wasn't love back there, back then. There wasn't even love back in the times of Atlantis. This all comes from Earth, the grandest place of all. There wasn't, back then in the other realms, there wasn't the sensitivity or awareness that you've had from the physical body, which ultimately ties in directly to the understanding of energy and consciousness. You didn't have that. You were neophytes. You were newbies. Yes, you were divine, but you weren't filled with the wisdom and the glory of the I am. You had a crystal consciousness, but it was infantile in a way. And in the infants, the children angels that you were, the innocents, everything going loopy up there in the other realms, everything just starting to slow down, coming to an impasse. And if it hadn't been for the extreme concern that everything would go out of existence, stop, halt, or implode on itself, the spiritual families, angelic families, would not have gotten together. They were having their wars. They were feeding off of each other. You could say that in spite of what you would call divinity in the other realms, everybody was still stealing everybody else's energy. Everybody was wanting to figure out the way to get back home. Home being your true origins. And it's like, okay, Gary must know or have something inside of him, maybe he's not aware of it. I'm going to steal it from him. I'm going to steal it from Tad. And then the stealing didn't work so well because, shit, they didn't have it either. But, now I had some buddies, that I've stolen from. And they aligned with me. And then we went out and went and invaded other angelic families, not with guns and things like that, but energetically. And that's where you could say the original battles ensued. It was all about energy. What is energy? Where can I get more? And where can I get the answers of how to get back home? And what is home, after all? Consciousness. And that's why when you came here to this great planet It was a young planet. It was Gaia and some of her workers and helpers. And it was this great big ball in the sky and had these strange elements of water and air and food and all the rest of that. But you came here as a leader of your angelic family, said, the way back home can be found right here, as well as many other things, love and compassion and joy. Joy wasn't known in the other realms. These were things that were discovered and experienced here on Earth, in addition to coming back to consciousness and energy. So I'm sorry you failed to convince me of shit.
Well, there's a moment of clarity that I'm thinking about,
Yeah.
and it's probably a concept or a belief in the human,
Right.
but I think it's important, or at least it has been important,
Right.
in my own dialogue, which is that all things had been experienced, and we were all things. And what I'm hearing, what you're saying, is that there are things that we didn't know. We didn't have the application of wisdom. We didn't have the application of things that gave us an
Wisdom was
incentive for
not
being here.
known until humans came to wisdom. Wisdom was not known by the I am or spirit or Palladians, P-A-L. It wasn't known. Wisdom was not known. There's this feeling that everything was perfect up there and is all floating around and everything. You were neophytes. You were young, and innocent in many ways, but wanting to go home. And going home means awareness of the awareness. And could you have found it anywhere else and doing it any other way?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right. So I win.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay.
Ooh, good answer.
I will debate anyone, anywhere. And when I debate, I will not be like a certain, recent debater. I will be filled with energy. Anybody else want to take on the devil's advocate here? Chickens. Good. Let's go into our next part of it then. I am very strong on this statement, and I will continue to campaign for it because I know it's true. There are no greater beings anywhere else. Once humanity realizes that, or let's say once you realize it, and then later humanity will, it changes everything. Instead of, we're just a bunch of low-life humans. Humans do really heinous things. But ultimately, all of that, at least right now, all of that is being channeled back into evolution and enlightenment of this planet. And I'm not justifying the things that humans do and some of the despicable states that they live in, but it is being channeled back into the evolution. Through the work the realm workers did, the ascended masters are doing, and you're doing, we're taking that and channeling it back into the new human species and enlightenment and evolution. None of it goes to waste. None of it is just evil or bad. We will transmute it. And again, those who are realm workers, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you are instrumental in setting up the very fabrics that are now enabling that. This planet, yes, you can be very critical all day long about the ugly nature of humans, and it is at times. I mean, I've had more than my share of lifetimes and experiences. Yet it is still the grandest of all out there. There's nothing else like it. Nobody else has subjected themselves to the extremes that you have here on the planet. And in spite of the challenges, in spite of every angelic being who's ever come here saying, oh, boy, I give up. I'm leaving. This is true hell. In spite of that, in spite of all the difficulties, humans invented music. It wasn't invented in the other realms. We don't have angelic symphonies. There are sounds in the angelic realms, but not music. Humans created and first experienced love, which some humans here on this planet cannot embrace. No. God is love. No. God is consciousness, awareness. but knew nothing of love, nothing of a sense of accomplishment, true creation. Did not know that. It's all come from this place of earth. All of it has come from here. There's no greater place. And some of that may be sad. They have to have, no, there has to be some standard out there for us. There's not. This is it. When you realize that, you embody it, then you start understanding why you're here right now, what you're doing, why this planet is now evolving, and why it has implications on everything else. It's easy to take on this attitude that this is a crappy place and humans don't know any better, and we have all these divisions around the world. We have divisions of masculine, feminine, races, have and have-nots, and everything else. It's almost insurmountable. It blows the mind. How do we ever overcome these issues? And it's one clear thing: light, consciousness. That's what does it. Not a bunch of debates, not any more wars, not any social program. No, social program is not going to solve the issues. Social programs, in my humble President of the Ascended Masters Club opinion, social programs only make the problems worse. Education, so sad right now, so sad. I think education is at the lowest of the lows. And I'm including the dark ages here, so this is pretty low. All these things, it seems insurmountable, but it's not. A little bit of light, of consciousness, changes everything. But I digress. Let's go on to the next level. I recently made a statement on one of these wonderful interviews. I really enjoyed doing these. I love talking to Shambro, of course, but boy, you set me out there with the public. I will embarrass Caldera. So it's bringing up a great debate, and I expect that it will continue. I think we're only seeing the first of it. I make a statement: there are no beings greater than a human being. I make a statement: I don't like Palladians one bit. I don't trust them one bit. I make a statement: what? Galactic Command? What are you smoking down there? I mean, what is wrong with you people? Galactic Commands. I mean, and all this hierarchy of these. What are you talking about? It's a nice distraction. It's a nice distraction to say, these UFOs and all these aliens, and they're going to come and save us, and all this Palladian stuff all over the place. I know the real word. I just like calling them Palladians. Ooh, it irritates them. And they're always correcting me. Palladian. It's like, no, Palladian. That's what I said. Palladian. That's Palladian. That's what I said. It really annoys me. You ever want to piss off a Palladian? Call them a Palladian. I enjoy it. I enjoy taunting them. You have all of these civilizations out there. Most of them aren't out there. They're not in your outer space. This universe is pretty damn empty. There are some civilizations, but not many. You like to think that, beyond 500 light years away, there's all these other civilizations. No, not much. And 500 light years is right there, right next door. The universe is not square or linear. It is circular. So whether it's 1 light year or 500 or just about 50,000 miles, it's all in the same place. It's all in the same place. I'm amused by some of the astronomers and physicists and that. They just go along with this assumption that everything is linear like it is here on the planet. You get not too far beyond the planet, and it's not linear. It's circular. And it's not 500 light years. That's a long damn ways away. I mean, it's right here. With that knowingness and the understanding of how there's concentric circles of not dimensions, but realms that work. Once you understand how to hop through those, it's really quite easy. You don't have to get in a little rocket ship and travel for 500 light years. You'd be dead many times over. No, it's right next door. But in the physical universe, there is not much out there. It brings up the question, why? Why would you have vast, empty spaces? Anybody want to take a jump at that? Why would you have such a vast space and you're just this little tiny minuscule place called Earth? A couple of reasons. One, it gives you something to expand into. You already built the expansion on your house, the extension on your house. It's already there. Secondly, it's to realize that as vast as your physical universe is, as big as it is, that you are very special within it. There's not much else out there. You know, they try to search for ETs and they put up these huge dishes, listening to the sky. But they're putting the dishes in the sky, in the physical universe. They're not going to find much. They have some bleeps and blops and things like that, but they're not going to find much. If they would learn to tune those right over to here, they would hear a lot. There's a lot going on in the other realms, non-physical realms. A lot. A lot. I mean, a lot. Your past lives are there in these other realms. They're not dead. I mean, they died in a physical body, but they're not dead. They are in those realms, very active. That past life never ended. It is continuing to this day. There are what you would call ETs out there. Not in your physical realm so much. A few here and there. It'd be like going out in the outback in Australia. No offense to the Aussies, but you don't find much out there. They're along the coastline. Once in a while, you encounter a little community somewhere, crazy people living out in the middle of nowhere, but not many. They're in the other realms, my friends, right next door, and you're feeling them every night when you sleep. You're feeling the pressure from them. Because every one of those past lives is also going through its realization. And they don't necessarily realize they're going through realization. They're going through something. And you're feeling that in your bones, in your dreams. And why are you having such crazy dreams? It's you're dreaming into those realms. And the other beings, whether they be Palladians or anything else, they're in those realms. They are real. What you call the ETs are real. But they don't float around in little metal cans. They rarely, if ever, could even make an appearance in this realm. What they do is fuck with you. I had to slip that one by Caldera. He thought I was going to say mess. They mess with you. They do things that we call it holographic insertions. They fuck with you. No, they really do. And they make you believe that you're a piece of shit. And I'm repeating what they tell me, that you're a piece of shit and you're worthless and that you're ungodly and that you're a despicable little planet that needs all sorts of help, and they're going to do it for you. Why? Oh, yes.
Why?
I'm getting there. What are you, some sort of ET here today? Palladian. No, you are not a Palladian. Something else, but not a Palladian. They insert holographic images, and particularly gullible humans believe the images, that they show up in little metal cans floating around, and that they do anal probes on you and at night trying to find something. They do probes, but it's not up the butt necessarily, and they do. But they're looking for what? Love. In all the wrong places. I mean, really, come on. Have some respect for yourself, you Palladians. They are real. They are real beings. And they do it. Why? Feeding. It's energy. Your emotions, your traumas, and to a degree your love and your joy, but mostly your traumas and your misery feeds them. That is their food. You eat meat or vegetables or I don't know, cookies or whatever. They eat your emotions. They are directly tied to you. You are their pig. I mean, they feed off of you. They feed off of you. They can present themselves to be these grand beings because humans are gullible and believe that crap. Humans have been made to feel unworthy a lot by the interference from these beings. And you're not. You see that? Good, it's still there. You see that? I want every one of you to remember that. There are no beings greater than the human being, and start acting like it. Therefore it is. These beings, these ETs and all the rest of that, they deceive and they fool. They interfere with the ways of the planet. In the past 100 years, there have been 3 major interferences from these beings that manipulate humans. They find the lowest type of consciousness of a human, and a human that is particularly has a lot of power. Oh, they love that. They love that. And then they manipulate, and they cause wars, and they interfere with places. One of the ones that's dear to my heart is this, and there are many around the planet, but the one that's very dear because I spent a lot of time there was Poland. And they placed this beautiful land and beautiful people right in the middle of Russia, Germany, all the wars over the years with others as well. But it's like the epicenter. They find it so easy to manipulate, as well as other areas. I'm not discounting anything else, but that's the one that, because of my background, is particularly close. So they interfere. When they interfere, it elicits fear, things like power, pain, agony, emotions. And they will tell you that emotions are a good thing. They will tell you if you read some of the things or listen to some of these channels that they do. They will say, oh, emotions are the greatest things a human has because they need that for their food. That's how they eat. That's how they sustain. They are low consciousness beings. They have learned that the manipulation can take place. One of the very reasons for the headbands in Atlantis was to counteract the manipulation from the other realms. It was designed to keep from outside interference. It had some other negative effects, but not because of the ETs. But one of the reasons was to keep out a lot of this outside other realm interference. The work that you did in Atlantis, as most of you were involved in that work, it wasn't to manipulate the brain or anything like that. It was to counter some of the effects. You didn't know exactly what it was or where it was coming from, but you knew there was something pushing, something constantly pushing. It had its own negative effects in some ways, but the original intent was to make the mind more uniform and make it not so susceptible to interference from the outside. Every one of those ETs that are out there, they are you. They are you. They are parts of yourself that have gone off exploring, parts of yourself that perhaps were wounded, parts of yourself that had a difficult time focusing here on this planet, parts of yourself that are undeveloped and unconscious. And you could say they never really lived here on earth, but they're connected to you. You've created them in the other realms. You've created them as a way to test you, to manipulate you, to take you to places that you couldn't have necessarily gotten to by just being in physical form. They are by far not physical beings, but they are extensions of your own consciousness, acting out in the other realms. They are you. And their time has come because of what you're doing here on this planet right now. In the light that you're working with, they can no longer exist out there. Their game is done. Their time is over. They can't manipulate. They can't, unless you let them. But in the wisdom you have now, and the light you carry, they can't manipulate you anymore. And they're screaming right now. They're going to try to call you, they're going to try to tell you you're bluffing. You don't know what you're talking about. You need them. You need them because they are grand beings. Humans are schmucks. They're grand beings. They're not. It's you. Most of them, again, have never, as you, incarnated. They're not past lives necessarily, mostly not. But they're parts of the greatness of your being that can create in the other realms. Why do they interfere? Why do they feed? Well, they feed because, A, it's easy, because they are from you. They interfere because two reasons. They want to know, are you real? Or are you just playing a game? Are you really on your way to discovering consciousness and energy or not? And in a way, you planted them there to say, am I full of Makyo or am I real? Well, it's up to you to decide. They feed off of you because they are you. They feed off your emotions because they are your emotions in the other realms. They have no power over you. They're not stronger than you. They are not grander than you in any way. They are subordinate to you. But they are you. It is time now to call their game and to call them home, just as you are calling your past lives home. You are the grand ones right here. Bar none. You are the grand ones. They have deceived you. You have deceived yourself into thinking that maybe you're not. But I want you to feel into it for a moment. Who is the grand one? If these beings were so great and so mighty, why don't they show up? Why don't they stand in front of you? Because they can't. They cannot handle your light. They cannot stand in front of you or any other humans. Now you can argue back and forth. We've got photographs of them. You have holographic insertions that become true even when the observer of these insertions believes they're real. If that observer has a camera and takes a picture, it's going to record something because it's the belief and the consciousness of the observer. You have people that say that they were abducted. Absolutely they were. By themselves. You have people that swear that they have all this great information for the planet that will only come forward when the planet is ready. That is crap. You have what you need right now on this planet. And it's called I exist. I am that I am. I am consciousness. And all the energy is mine. You have everything you need. Their game is up now. The realm workers created a type of field that will not allow them to directly interfere with ways of the planet. In other words, in wars, in governments, and things like that. They still have a way of interfering directly with you because they are you. But they have been banned by the work that the realm workers did from directly interfering as a group. And they've learned how to group together. They've learned how to group together with other ETs of yourself. and with other ETs of others. And they become quite a force. And when you try to fight them, you lose because they're you. When you try to battle them, you lose. They know which buttons to push. They know how to feed off of you. But when you declare, I exist, I am that I am, they disappear. With some kicking and screaming, but they disappear. They don't want to lose their identity. But the fact is they really don't have one of their own. As you resolve yourself, as you come to terms with yourself and you accept the grandness that you are, they go away. They dissolve away. They're gone. And essentially what happens is even that, as sinister as they have been, your soul brings all of that to wisdom and gives it back to you. You are the grandest beings. You've been led to believe that you're not. You've been led to believe that this planet is filled with more war and violence and evil and all the rest of these things that cannot be overcome. And I declare today that we are going to go beyond that. Therefore it is. Therefore it is. We're going to rise above it and realize that these are just manifestations of yourself in the other realms, not physical beings for the most part. And that their time has come. They're being called home. They're being called home to something that they've always wanted, but they're afraid to experience. And that is love. They do not know it. They have not experienced it. They would have loved to have taken it from you, but they couldn't. They're being called back home by the very thing that perhaps they fear the most, because they know that it will be their demise. And that is love. Oh, they have sought it. They've wanted to have it so that they could manipulate it for their own good and turn it against you. But they're being called home by love. Let's take a good deep breath with that. The evolution of this planet, of the human species, is happening right now. It's happening on levels that perhaps you don't understand, you haven't seen. It's not just happening, on the streets with people day to day. It's happening in the other realms. And the implications then to this planet will be huge. Yes, this planet will go through many changes between now and then. Old forces are dying and making way for light, making way for you and the new human species. Let's take a deep breath with that as we bring this day to our mirab. There is no greater being than the human being. I will debate anyone. But why would one deny that? Why would one not allow that? Maybe they're still developing, learning. Maybe they're still enjoying battling or belittling themselves, maybe. But once you can accept that, once you feel it and sense it and live it, not just think about it, but live it, there is no greater being than the human being. Then this planet can evolve. This planet can go beyond the noise of these ETs and truly into your divinity. Now, some of you may take away from this day that, oh my gosh, look what I've created, all these ETs, the Palladians and everything else that goes with it, and the galactic commands and all the rest of that. And some of you may say, oh yeah, but this other channeler told us that. That's bullshit. I will just say that right now. And I will call on anybody who's channeling the Palladians or the galactic commands to cease now, because they are going to collapse. And you, dear channelers who channel them, do not want to get caught in that. They are collapsing. Channel your own divinity. Channel one of the other 13,000 ascended masters who would love to come and work with humans right now. But let go of the aliens. They're simply you with agenda. Some of you may think, well, this is all pretty sad. Why would I create something like this that interferes? Why would I create and call something an ET and give it so much power? I must be a really bad person or stupid. Not at all. It was all part of the process. Discovering the God within. Externalizing yourself into something like a ET, an alien being. They're real. I mean, they're really in those other realms, sitting right next door here. There were parts of yourself, perhaps, that were very, very lost. Parts of yourself, aspects of yourself that fell out of trust, fell out of grace. They didn't just go away. They went into the other realms and acted out. But also look at it from this perspective. You're a grand being. You're a grand creator. And you create things at times to help you understand your grandness. And you can even create something like ETs and alien beings. What a great act that is, in a way, in a funny kind of way, to create this other being, give it power, let it lord over you, tell you all the bad things you've done. That's kind of an interesting, odd but interesting game. Give yourself credit, because only humans could do something like that. Only humans could go to that length to do something like that. The fact is, if your life was a play in the theater, you're acting out all these parts. And then forgetting that it's all you, forgetting the aliens are you, forgetting even that your past lives are you. You know, forgetting your past lives, kind of a blessing, but it's really not necessary. But you created that. I'll forget even those past lives. And now it's time to bring it all together, to remember every one of your past lives is going through realization right now. Wouldn't it be nice if they knew you were here as the human, as the focal point of all of the lifetimes? Wouldn't it be nice if you maybe just chatted up with them a little bit? Appear to them like you appeared to yourself in this lifetime, like you had an encounter with an angelic being, not an alien being, but an angelic being at one of the darkest moments of your life. That was you, from right now, from right here. Wouldn't it be nice now to visit your past lives and tell them, hey, dude, you're doing really good. And, you know, I am you. You are me. And we are all ascending right now. We are all coming to realization. And by the way, there's a bunch of these green guys around. Don't pay any attention to them. They're part of us. But, you know, even they're right now becoming realized. You're a grand creator. You can create all of these stories, all these games, but they're all you. It's kind of like if your life was a movie or a stage play. And you're taking on different roles. You realize, Calder's giving me some examples here. Tom Hanks, the actor, playing in Polar Express, took on 5 or 6 different roles. Just didn't play the lead character, but played a lot of the other roles as well. Why? It was fun. It was fun to be the main character and other characters. The one who played Wizard of Oz, Frank Morgan. Wizard of Oz, I'm sure you've heard of the movie, if not seen it a few times. Frank played 5 other roles in Wizard of Oz, unbeknownst to most people. He played 5 other roles because he could. He could play the main, and he could play these other characters. There's a great actor by the name of George Johnson, played in a movie, played 45 different roles in the movie. 45. Why? Why not? Because you can. Because it's fun. Because you can dress yourself up. You can appear as different things, have different identities. And you've done the same, dear friends. You play many different roles, past lifetime roles, roles as ETs, a lot of different things. But right here, sitting before me, is the expression of spirit, is you. Is the lifetime. Is the heart and the core of the soul. All the rest of these are just imaginations. Part of what you've created, part of what you have chosen for your experience. There are better ways of doing it, probably. But now that you have the wisdom, now you can decide how you want to do it different. I mean, literally. With the wisdom you have now, and the creator being that you are, you literally change the course of history and everything that on your linear path that it's taken to get here. It's not so much a do-over. It's a do with more light. In other words, you know what it's been like in this lifetime to go through what you've been through. But you could take a deep breath at any moment as a grand being you are and say, let's have a remake. Let's bring light and wisdom into this now, which I now have, and now I can go into the past and bring that very light and bring that very wisdom into my whole journey home. The path that you've been on in this lifetime as this human is very real. It's not negated, but yet it's brought to a different level. The past, in a way, is redone, but without eliminating the past. It is elevated with wisdom, with light, with love, the very things you found and did on this planet. The journey is elevated. And you can do that right now. We can take the things that you have earned in this journey, wisdom, love, light, consciousness. We can take them right now and transmute that whole journey. And when you do, when you take a deep breath and say yes, let's bring my realization to a new level. Yes, let's do it. Therefore, it is. Therefore, it is. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to battle back and forth. Therefore, it is. And as we go forward, those words are going to be some of the most precious to you as a creator, and therefore it is. I imagine, and therefore it is. Let's take a good deep breath together. Transmuting parts of yourself that have been out there in the other realms. If it wasn't for the work of the realm workers, we wouldn't be talking like this today. We take that, you that's been in these other realms, that's identified as a ET, you from past lives, that's going through their realization, you as the human in this lifetime that's put up with so many challenges and difficulties on your path. And let's bring wisdom, love, and true light to all of that. And then let it evolve on its own. Let it evolve. Let it find its next place, its new balance. And therefore it is. When you truly realize that there are no beings greater than the human being, not even Yeshua. Not even Yeshua. No aliens, nothing else. It is you. When you realize that, that frees everything, opens everything, shifts everything. In all of creation, there are no beings greater than the human being. I will take anybody on that disagrees with that. Anybody. Let's take a deep breath together on this very sacred day. Please acknowledge what you are doing here. Please acknowledge that. And therefore it is. Let's take a deep breath together. And now comes that time I'd like not just to hear the words, but I'd love to feel the feeling as we bring this shout to a close. Let's take a deep breath together. All is well in all of creation. And so it is. Thank you, Shambra. Thank you.
Such a big experience. Please just stay with the I am that I am. I exist. Words can't do this justice. So I just ask you to stay with breathing in these energies, this incredible information and understandings for each of us in our own way. And with that, thank you for being a part of this Shoud Illumination number 10. Thank you. We'll be back. Thank you for being a part of this event. Take care of you.
The stars, look how they shine for you, and all the things you do. It was all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you. What thing to do. And it was called yellow. So then I took my turn. And what a thing to have done. 'Cause you were all yellow. And your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones, and turn to something beautiful. And you know I love you so. You know I love you so. I swam across, I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all yellow. I drew a line, I drew a line for you. And all the things you do. And it was all yellow. And your skin, oh yeah, your skin bones turn into something beautiful. And you know, for you I bleed myself dry. For you I bleed myself dry. No, it's true. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. And all the things that